It's very interesting that you mention how security and immigration go hand in hand, and in a sense, have a lot of risks that also come with it. While Canada has been very welcoming, very diverse in terms of accepting a lot of immigrants who are in search for a home, but that naturally turns out to be a risk at some point too. And we've seen that with different communities coming into Canada. I
Mhm.
think one of the interest angles for India, and this has been going on for a while, is the Khalistani movement, which is indirectly or directly supported by
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
individuals and organizations in Canada. So, just to can you give us a little history about how this is perceived in Canada? Because obviously we have an Indian perception of what the problem is, but
Right.
I would like to hear from you what you think about this.
Absolutely. And yes, it has become a sensitive issue for reasons that don't make sense to me, but I'll get to that in a minute. So essentially what we call Sikh terrorism, Sikh extremism, or the Khalistani movement, as you say, has been a problem for Canada for a very, very long time. I'd
Right.
like to remind your listeners that the single greatest act of aviation terrorism in history, prior to 9/11, took place in Canada. It was the downing of the Air India flight off the coast of Ireland in July of 1985. That was a plot that was designed and implemented by Canadian Sikh terrorists out of British Columbia on the West Coast. A second plane that was going through Japan landed in Narita Airport, and two baggage handlers were killed by a bomb on board. That was a defining moment for Canada, where I think that we realized, or the rather government realized, because the security services had long realized this before, that there were Canadians, part of certain diasporas, who would use Canada as a staging base. And just to give you
Right.
another example, prior to Air India, in 1982 and 1985, Armenian Canadians targeted Turkish diplomats, killing one and killing a security guard in attacks against a Turkish military attache who was killed in his car and the Turkish embassy. And these were Armenian Canadians seeking to punish
Right.
Turkey for the 1916 so-called genocide/massacre of Turkish
Right.
Armenians
Yeah.
during the First World War. So Canada is no stranger to diaspora politics, to diaspora tensions, and Sikh terrorism was the dominant investigation for the 1980s. I remember being part of it, even when I was at CSE.
Right.
The problem has become is that in recent years, there are a number of Sikh Canadians who don't like the term Sikh terrorism. They don't like the term Sikh extremism
Fair enough.
because
Right.
they think it labels the Sikh community. And there's nothing further from the truth. Sikh terrorism is what it is. It is terrorism used by a small number of extremists who want to use violence to force the Indian government to grant Khalistani independence in the Punjab.
Right.
That is the definition of terrorism under the Canadian Criminal Code. And yet we've kind of reached a point, and I'll call it what it is, whether you call it woke culture or cancel culture or political correctness or whatever you want to call it, the government is being pressured and has caved in, and
Right.
it no longer uses the term Sikh terrorism. I still use it because that's
Right.
accurate. But the government is worried about votes. If you've got a large Sikh or Indian diaspora in your riding and you use the wrong words, they may not vote for you. So there's a lot of political correctness going on in Canada right now.
Right.
I don't remember the last time there was a serious Sikh extremist plot that came from Canada. But on the other hand, I also am not ignorant. There are probably still individuals who
Right.
still hold to the creation of an independent Khalistan in the Punjab.
Right.
And some of them will actually resort to the use of violence, whether it's here in
Right.
Canada or abroad. And so I think we have to remain vigilant to this cause. It hasn't gone away.
Right.
The goal has not been achieved. The goal
Right.
is an independent Khalistan. And knowing what I know about the Modi government in your country, I'm guessing that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.